When someone asks you what your favorite video game is, with what would you respond? I'd say every answer is different, but two people can share the same favorite. Maybe it's a game you play constantly. Maybe it's a game that may not be very good in most ways, but you have a strong connection to it because of the people you played it with. Or maybe it's a once in a lifetime experience that changes the way you see video games or even art in general. For me, it's all three. This is a video about Rayman Origins, the greatest darn game I ever bought 5 times. Its only competitor is LEGO Star Wars 3, but I actually don't remember how I got all those. So Rayman Origins was released in 2011 as the start of a new era for Rayman. Rayman as a character has existed since 1996, but that game wasn't very, good. It was a little difficult because the game had no playtesters. It was just the development team playing the game they were masters at. So even though the original Rayman had this awesome art style and wonderful soundtrack, it gained a reputation for its incredible lack of fun. Gameplay isn't everything for a game, but Rayman 1's gameplay really ruined the whole experience. So all these years later, after a couple of sequels that people often say were amazing, but I can't really care for since they missed out on the crucial elements that formed Rayman 1's unique style. Michael Ansel, the creator of Rayman, had begun work with Ubisoft Montpellier on a sort of reboot to Rayman that would take the series back to its 2D platforming, stylized origins. Now, my experiences with this game travel throughout my entire life. I've played it with so many, finished it so many times, and know most nooks but very few crannies. And for many, many weeks, I've longed to make a video about how amazing this game is. So let's get started. This title screen makes me so happy. Okay, so Origin Story is a favourite of mine, even though it isn't too deep. Basically, the Rayman crew, these four, well, they're just hanging out, eating apples and snoring with this chicken guy, Polycus. He dreamt the world into existence, but Globox is snoring straight into the whimsical hole that leads to the land of the living dead, and down there's a bunch of old people who get real ticked off by the noise. So they chuck trash up the pipe to get the crew to shut up, but they accidentally chuck a skull up there and scare the shit out of Rayman. The grannies then send up the Nightmares of Polycus to fight Rayman and his band of morons, and the Nightmares win, imprisoning our main four into dangly cages and making Polycus go insane. The game starts off from that intro with the amount of players stuck in the cages on a massive tree called the Snoring Tree. Here you can swap between the main four characters and others you will unlock later. The main four are Rayman, the main guy on the box and with the whole series named after. He's a thingamajig, the game's actual wording, and the only one of the species that we know of. Globox, the blue guy. Now, he used to be red, but he became blue because he was stung by a horde of angry blue mosquitoes. The Green Teensy. He's a member of the Blue Teensy people, but despite his name, he is still blue. He just wears green. Goth Teensy, the Teensy wearing black. I guess he guards the portal to the underworld, preventing the destruction of the world. I really like the design of the Snoring Tree. It's very quiet compared to most areas of the game, and it gives you a good hub to chill out in after playing for a real difficult level. Speaking of levels, this game actually has them, and they're good. They're really good. Outside of the Snoring Tree is the Glade of Dreams, which is where the entire series takes place. Each world is in a distinct corner of the map and features unique enemies, scenery, and banger music, while the worlds in the original Rayman were composed of classic video game biomes such as musical instruments, paint supplies, and and cake. Origins features more universal themes like a forest or a desert, but incorporates the game's stylized uniqueness to make the worlds both grounded and fantastical, providing a feeling I don't get with the boring landscapes of Mario and the exaggerated and chaotic backdrops of a Sonic level. Now, don't get me wrong, I usually hate boring forest levels, but Origins is the single exception, with its first world, Gibberish Jungle. That's gibberish with a J. It's not a requirement for the world's names to be acronyms. They just did it here because Ansel is a madman. Though I'm getting ahead of myself. So, in the most normal, boring, lame, terrible platformers, the first one would consist of level 1, grass, level 2, grass, level 3, grass, level 4, underground, but under grass. But for Rayman Origins, the jungle goes like Level 1, rainy awesome plateau with geysers that launch you in the air. Level 2, collapsing rock structures you can bring down, squashing enemies. Level 3, climbing out of this old cave system with moss going through the walls and these bouncy platforms. Level 4, a mysterious jungle with ancient landing pads and cool vines and these weird bulbs. Now, I also may need to talk about the coins of this world. The lums. Lums are these floating yellow things you can get in the levels all over the place, defeating enemies, picking them up flying about, or running onto a skull coin, often found in a perilous location which will give you 25 lums. The lums are counted at the end of each level by this guy, the magician. He shows up frequently in the early game to provide basic knowledge about how the game works in the form of his hat. In most of these tutorials, he talks on and on about lums, even dreaming of them in his sleep. But when counting them at the end of each level, there are goals of lums for that level to be met, and if the player gets over that amount, they get these little pink fellas known as electoons. Electoons are pretty much keys to progress in the game. Think like star coins from New Super Mario Bros. At the end of each of the first 5 worlds, there is an evil-ass tentacle spike from Don't Starve blocking your path, which can only be removed by collecting enough electoons. This will open a new Electoons bridge level with almost no enemies and serves as filler levels, which are still fun to collect enough lums to unlock more Electoons at the Magician's Tube. There are also Electoons trapped within the level, often in normal levels, 2 Electoons hidden, 2 in the end screen with lum requirements, and 1 for completing a lenient time trial. You also unlock new characters upon reaching certain Electoon thresholds. You don't spend them, you just need to have them. After the Electoon bridge in each world, we are faced with the dreaded Mosquito level. They're auto-scrollers where all players float over the world on mosquitoes, spelt like that, and spit blue bolts of energy at enemies along the way. Now, I don't exactly hate these levels, but they are genuinely terrible when attempting to collect every Lumon for the trophy, because you miss one patch and then you have to fly into the fucking lava to respawn at the last checkpoint. These levels do also serve as transition points between the worlds, often showcasing the progression between the two areas, with the music going from the last worlds to silent, to gradually picking back up in this new area, and I really like this change as it shows the world is connected instead of just being random level themes one after the other. At the conclusion of Gibberish's Mosquito level, hi ho Mosquito, we enter the desert of didgeridoos and fight a massive bird before ending the level and fully starting the world. I hate this world. Okay, I'm being harsh. I mean, it isn't a badly designed area like an upcoming world. I just don't really vibe with desert themes. They sort of remind me of sweating to death and the unbearable heat that causes me to often prefer ice levels. Yeah, I like ice levels. In this game, it's that good. But the Desert of Didgeridoos is very smartly designed with its levels, even if the theming is meant to be the main focus to most. There is a lot to like here. For example, a musical desert, and it's not just in the background. It permeates throughout the levels, like you land on the drum and it makes a drum noise. Or you land on these little string things and they make a cool noise. And a lot of the funny birds in the levels make musical noises, which really adds to the musical theme they got going in this place. The actual level design is also pretty good. It has these cool pipes that send you travelling to an endpoint and filling you out to bounce on an enemy's head, which is so satisfying, and dangerous sound waves you can deactivate to get skull coins or just progress further. You also unlock a new power in the first level here. You did get one in the first world, but is it really such an addition to the moveset to gain the ability to attack? And that was only after a couple of minutes. So in the first level, the first 5 main worlds, you have to rescue one of the magical nymphs that created Rayman from the clutches of the evil Antitoons. That eye is very important, and when you free them, you get a cutscene where you were given a new power, and no, I am not making the fucking joke everyone makes when talking about this game. I'm sick of it. For the Desert of Didgeridoos, you unlock the ability to glide, and this really makes a difference. Every time I replay this game, before I get to this point, the moveset just feels like it's broken. And then the glide comes in and makes the game feel amazing, even if it can be used to climb up completely flat surfaces, but that's funny, so I like that. The glide also lets you fly upwards in windy sections, which adds a lot of verticality that makes the desert stand out more from the other places you could visit. The moves in this game are awesome, though. It's sort of like Smash Bros, where every direction in both the air and on the ground and the water has an amazing animation to go with it. It just looks so damn smooth. There's even really specific animations you rarely see, like when teetering on an edge and Rayman looks fucking terrified, or when holding onto a rope above the piranha melon water. Anyway, at the end of the desert, you do another Electoon Bridge level, easy, and then a Mosquito level, terrifying, where you enter the greatest world in any video game. I think Gore, a man, land, duh, and it is amazing. There's so much to love about Gorman Land. I personally am a big fan of ice levels, and I know most people hate them because they're slippery controls. But in Rayman Origins, most of the characters look real goofy when they slide about, so that's okay with me. But Gorman Land's first half takes place on a lot of glacial ice, where you jump between the different ice forms, but then something has to be in between the ice to prevent you from just swimming under the platforms. So the developers cooked up these piranhas. They are very memorable to the glacial area, and when Rayman gets hit by one, he does this. That really looks like that hurt, man. The design of this place is just fantastic. These umbrellas serve as both platforms and ropes at the same time. There's spiky prehistoric oranges that act as barriers. There's bubbles you can jump on and ride across areas of piranhas. But, Rayman's too big to stand on the bubbles, which is where this world's power comes in. The power to shrink. So when you go for a funnel area, that squashes you down and your character becomes smaller. You can jump on these bubbles and do a dash attack to gain height or just speed forward. It's one of the most innovative things in this game, and it's taken directly from Rayman 1, but ignore that. And even if it sometimes gets in the way, it really shakes up the formula. But Miami Ice is only the first area of Gorman Land, which makes it so amazing. The second half is the Infernal Kitchens. Halfway through Gorman Land, one of the levels starts with a screen of Miami Ice before the ground crumbles beneath you, leading you to do a falling section where you have to try and get the lunge to fall and stay in the air. So the Infernal Kitchens constitutes the second half of Gorman Land, and is an incredibly hot kitchen for these chef dragons and living sausages. This second area contrasts the first area of butler dragons on the surface and pissed off chef dragons below. As well as this, the music down here has a lot of whooping and these bum bum bums, while the music above ground is really calming and it's like slurping sound. I mean, it's playing right now, just you're listening to it. Overall, Gorman Land is amazing and the best world in any video game I've ever played, followed by complete and total misery. So, Gorman concludes with a Mosquito level where you leave the kitchens and end up at the fourth corner, the Sea of Serendipity, which is a water world but without Kevin Costner, although it is still bad. Well, the first level takes place on the boardwalks, which I do think is quite interesting, and the Darktoon chases a pirate ship in the background sending cartoon bombs at you, which destroy the boardwalk and block off routes, which is pretty cool. But when you rescue the nymph, you get given the power to swim. You know how people say it's bad to be given a gun in a horror game because that means you have to use it? Yeah, it's one of those situations. I mean, I don't like water levels, and even if this game is so great, they are still very annoying. The controls underwater feel more like flying than in any Mario game, which has a lot of weight to how you move around down here. And it's not just where you move the stick in a certain direction and Rayman immediately snaps in that way. The characters still need to spin around, which I really like because it makes the swimming feel impactful. Even if I don't like most of what this world represents, it still has its moments. Not many of them, but it does have them. A good example of one of these great moments is this dark area where these evil hands grab you, but only in complete darkness, so you have to stay near a light source, which always terrified me in my youth. Or this amazing vista of these underwater ruins made of jade with this ethereal music in the background. I also swear these fish here are locking onto your position because they make the craziest snooker bounces to crush you into the wall. And I also think these crabs are the biggest enemy in the game, yet their bubbleized form is the same as a living stone, which genuinely just feels off and weird. But all bad things must come to an end, with the Mosquito level taking us to the penultimate main world, Mystical Peak, spelt like that, which made me always think it was Mystical BQ, so I'm going to call it that. Mystical BQ is set on a mountain in the middle of the glade. The first level has us arrive at the base of the mountain before a Dark Toon chase to unlock the power to wall run. And this power is actually fun. So when you start running towards a smooth slope like this, you wall run and gain more speed. If you jump from this, it often sends you flying at a weird angle, like Wazoom! With the power to wall run, you ascend a massive vertical drop and reach this fucking rhythm mini game where you gotta unlock this door with these glow box looking guys. And from this point, the mountain is covered in snow as you near the top. At the start, the background looks sort of like the plateaus of the gibberish jungle, but on the way up, the mountain becomes more and more snowy, and near the top, the background is just mountain with flying metal chunks in the background. We'll learn more about those later. There are also sections inside caves with the Pondering Monks and Bear Trap Dark Toons, as well as Molten Rock Throwers that as a kid I always thought were evil Rayman, but still, I don't actually know. This world also has a lot of gears and other piping and rusty screws falling from the sky or embedded in the snow, which doesn't make sense now, but will in like 3 minutes. The music has a lot of humming in it, which I take to be the Glowbox monks in the caves. I really enjoyed the contrast of the peaceful caves inside and the blizzard battering you on the outside as you ascend the mountain. Now, why are they ascending the mountain? I don't know, I guess they have a sense to fight the evil for some reason. In the final mountain level, Golly G Golem, you fight a massive stone golem, which is the game's first boss fight. Now, you probably just thought I was skipping them, but no, this is the first. And with his death, you can travel to the final world, Moody Clouds. At the top of the mountain, you can see a glimpse of the stormy clouds, but you can't play any of the levels yet because you need to open some portal with the power of the 4 kings who have been turned into monsters who you free by defeating them. They are the flower, the bird, the shrimp, and the cinnamon. But before I talk about where they
First
are,
character goes to Ninja
character
Teensy.
ranking
He's very forgettable.
time.
He didn't come back in Legends, and he just looks like a worse goth Teensy. He does not have a hat. I like the hat. Number 15 goes to Wizard Teensy. He's just way too blue. Like, his clothes are made of his skin, so he just looks like flat blue. He's also basically a reskinned Minimus with no lore, apart from an unseen twin that we hear nothing about. Number 14, Princess Teensy. How do you make the players know this one's a girl? Make 'em fucking pink! Number 13, Ray Teensy. He just unnerves me. Why does the Teensy have that weird hair? I know it's stated it's not real hair, but it just looks off. I hate it. Number 12, Green Teensy. He's just boring. No wonder they didn't bring him back for Legends. The only character from this game to not return for Legends, by the way. And in promotional material, it's always Minimus in his place, which they did for Legends. Minimus is the 4th player. So he just feels way too boring. He wears green, that's it. Number 11, Goth Teensy. He's actually pretty good, and this is where I start to like most of the characters. He has some lore, I guess, and his hat is weird, but I think there are cool characters in it. Number 10, Gombrox, the first non-Teensy character, which should show you how many Teensies there are in this game. He's just sort of purple and fuzzy. He's alright, but the other Glowbox are way better. Number 9, Teensy Glowbox. I forgot his actual name. He's pretty forgettable, but he's just a nice shade of blue, I guess. Number 8, Ray Mises, also known as Evil Rayman to my aunt. He has interesting lore, and I used to really like him, but he fell down my tier list in recent years. Number 7, the First King, and the most unique of the evil 3. He has a tattered cape and a ruined crown that makes him more interesting than the others, and it's just a nicer shade of blue/purple. Plus his eyes are different, and he's evil. Number 6, regular Glowbox. He's blue and the classic version of himself. He has really goofy animations, but I prefer Rayman and the best of the Teensies personally. Number 5, Red Glowbox, the original, before he was stung by blue boozer berries and became blue. I think the red is nice, and he has that story behind him. That was only shown in the PS Vita version of Origins. Number 4, Blue Rayman. I used to really like him when I was younger, and he was definitely my favourite, but the blue is just a little too much nowadays. However, he's still a classic. Number 3, Grand Minimus, the classic Teensy design. This is what I think of when I think of the entire species. Now, fun fact, the Teensies have multiple kings who all work together. Cool! The cape is amazing, the crown is a great yellow, and he's just well-rounded amazing. Number 2, regular Rayman. I mean, he's on the fucking box. He has great animations, but they have this sense of cool to them. Though I don't like his idle animations, especially since there are a lot of slopes in this game, and he looks like he has scoliosis. Number 1, Flaming Teensy. The best character in the game, and I really like him. Just check my profile picture, unless I changed it in 3 years. He's quite different from the usual Teensy template, but I love all the changes that make him unique. Like his crooked teeth, his shattered crown that looks awesome, his sharp nose that gives him a unique edge. Even his eyes are different shapes than the standard Teensy template. Instead of being complete circles, they're warped to make him just feel awesome. And his sick-ass coat with the awesome flames on it. I also forgot to mention his yellowish shade that stems from being fed beans by the gang in the infernal kitchens, which could mean there is gang war down there. Overall, he's the best character in the game, 110%, and the best character design in anything ever. Anyway, back to actual gameplay. Each of the 4 kings is located in a new area adjacent to each world with 4 new levels that take advantage of all the powers you now have, like wall running in Gorman Land, now known as Luscious Lakes, and gliding in Gibberish Jungle. In the new area of Gibberish Jungle, the Ticklish Temples, you fight the Daisy in Poor Little Daisy. The fight starts and moving to the left to see the monstrous thorny Daisy before it starts a chase sequence going up, which you don't often see, to be honest. This chase scene isn't too difficult, and the challenge only arises when attempting to collect all the lumps, but there's so many, and the threshold for Rayman is so low, I actually got it without trying or getting this footage. At the top, it transitions to a standard chase sequence to the right, before going to a new screen for an actual fight. In the fight, you're locked inside an oval and can wall run over the boss as it slams into a wall. Now, here's my problem with all of these bosses bar one. The fight just feels like a trial and error until you know what attack is about to happen. You just have to get killed by it and return to the start of the battle. For the final hit, the Daisy launches its tongue on the wall and you have to wall run to get over it before running up its tongue and finishing the boss, returning him back. He's a vegan, you know. In Grumbling Grottos, the continued area of the Desert of Didgeridoos, you actually fight a massive bird like in that one Mosquito level. The level starts straight away with Rayman stationed at the base of on a pole the bird is perched upon. Of course, you grab its tail, causing it to fly off before suddenly flying back in, where you whack him in the boobo to cause him to drop the bottom platform, allowing you to glide upwards in the wind stream. He does a couple of dashes, and then he spins around and starts inhaling, which if you get caught in, it basically just insta-kills you. But if you can survive that, you just hit the mockingbird in the mouth to revert it to a little birdie. In the angsty abyss, you do battle with the king of the ocean. Fucking shrimp. The level starts like a normal level above the ocean before you plunge in and collect lumps while the fish sink you. Before, oh shit! Eels begin to chase you, better hurry up! The chase then goes further with you jumping on crumbling rocks and fighting enemies up here before the eels get stuck and block the way back. But if you die in the upcoming boss fight and mountain climb back up here, the eels are gone and you can explore the chase section again. However, the rocks aren't there and have collisions still. But anyways, getting back to the actual boss fight, when you complete the chase sequence with the eels, you can press on to the chamber, where you fight the massive shrimp eel dragon thing. This fight, like the others, is fast but difficult. You basically wait for his tail to decrease in elevation from its starting position until it is an inadequate situation for you to attack it. Then punch him in the fucking mouth. I do really like this boss though. It has that weird feeling of strangeness to it, as with how you got here in the chamber, you find him in it, it's very murky and mucky. Plus awesome Leviathan-esque creature who would later inspire 2 enemies from Rayman Legends, giving them a pretty good impact on the total series. I mean, the series didn't last long after this game, but the final king is the king of dragons in the land of ice, Luscious Lakes, where he eats things. He's first encountered in the level You're on Fire, which is a Mosquito level, unfortunately. In the level, you travel from the infernal kitchens back to the top side, Miami Ice, where after a while you can see El Stamaco in the background as he eats an ice castle. He then proceeds to look, well, like that, and then baths ice over the playable area, where you have to avoid it. I really like this use of the boss earlier in the Luscious Lakes, because it makes him feel part of the world, and that's just like a fight to put on the end of an already pretty good world. The other bosses don't really have that. He's actually fought in the level My Heart Burns for You. An all-time pickup line.
It didn't work.
The level starts with Rayman and his co running away from the little guys with weapons. I don't know, I'm not watching the footage right now. This chase scene is actually amazing though. It's so fast and has these hidden routes you would only know to go for if you failed before, so it sort of encourages you to restart and try and get all the good routes in one go. Also, the ice in this section has a massive speed multiplier because you can go really fast. By the way, I'm not holding sprint in this footage. Anyway, you're running along and then all of a sudden you get eaten by the monstrous El Stamaco, which leads to platforming sections in his insides, which are really fun. His insides are very twisty, so you will run a lot, and you even fight his inner workings, which are these cool plumber dragons that you rarely see. I think there's only about 5 in the whole game, and they are all in this level, in this one segment. You and your optional friends eventually arrive inside his stomach, where you have this central platform and walls to run up and a nice bubo to hit. But when you do it, you see a shot of El Stamaco getting indigestion, and when you see inside again, the bile starts to rise and flames come down from the top of his stomach, and you are simply forced to avoid them and hit him in the bubo that seriously only appears for such a short amount of time. When you do hit him, his indigestion worsens and more flames are added into the equation, where you have to jump over them like a bar and then again and hit the bubo near the top when the flames clear, which makes it even worse. The platform in the center then lowers into his poisonous bile, and bubbles are created for you to jump between as they slowly rise to the flames on top. And this is a very creative section. Eventually the flames clear and you can hit the boob on the left, which causes him to do that, and then the final section begins when the bile starts draining and you run out of his body, dodging the harmful brambles and the fire chasing you up his windpipe before being vomited out. The king downsizes back into his old form. David Tennant. With all 4 kings defeated, you can now progress further into the moody clouds and see more of it other than a snowy mountaintop. The first level here is called Riding the Storm, and it's the last proper Mosquito level. It's mainly focused on the stormy skies with little land. There are these annoying clouds that link lightning to each other, and at this point the game gets very fucking difficult. After going through the gateway, you reach the small bit of land leading up to the Mosquito dock and see the magician's hat again, where he warns you repeatedly that only danger is in front of you. There may be a conflict of interest here, but I don't know. Anyway, as the level progresses, you go from rough skies of clouds on the way to super busy mechanical steampunk floating city or factory, where instead of fighting clouds or flies, you face flies and turrets and fucking missiles! The next level, on top of Old Smoky, shows us what the moody clouds are all about. More of those lightning clouds are there, but there's flying platforms that sometimes whisk you away. But a lot of saw blades, and don't forget these roller skating robots. I really like them. They can't be bubbleized. The only way to kill them is to send them onto fucking pits that drop into the ocean, or tearing them into smithereens with the saw blades. Speaking of saw blades, I just really want to include this clip. The Clouds of Mood also have a banger soundtrack that really captures the industrial feel as you slide along the floor at top speed. It's been playing throughout this segment, so I'm not going to play it now. Well, I mean, the songs all across the game are all bangers. Like, my favourite song in the game, Glacier Cocktail, was already used in the intro for that awesome montage. But the Infernal Kitchens have great songs too. Instruments, of course, are range. Gibberish Jungle has two songs that can be described as mining, and the Sea of Serendipity contains these quieter melodies outside of the electrons and monasteries. But in these sections for the chill fish, they even sing and make up the background music. Also, each world has their own Mosquito theme, my favourite of them being Sea of Serendipity, because just listen. I think a lot of people often contrast this game's soundtrack against Rayman 3's, but personally I compare them as if Rayman Origins is this nice, peaceful, humble soundtrack, and Rayman 3's is boisterous and loud and aggressive, and it wants to know, yeah, this ain't your grandpa's Rayman, even if your grandpa never played Rayman. The final main level is Mecha No Mistake, and it is seriously difficult. Now, I like to think I'm pretty good at this game. I mean, I've been playing it for, 14 years? But getting footage of this single level was so fucking hard, and it really doesn't look like it. But you aren't seeing all the times I got crushed in these death machines that line the walls. Now, fun fact, I actually misspelled multiple words in that previous section, but my brain was being eaten by the noises of vulture droids while I wrote that, so cut me some slack, please. This level is cool though. For the final one, it shows us more of the robots, and you can see them ice skating, or I guess metal skating, or it's just technically roller skating, I think. This level takes place more inside than the former, and uses more death traps like saw blades and mashy spike plates. And then there's this bit. I've died more here getting footage than on the final boss fight. Like, genuinely, why is this so difficult? This level ain't even that long, to be honest. It just feels more like difficult challenges placed after each other to test your skills before the final boss. I'm not revealing it yet, come on. The next level's called The Reveal. The Reveal, the final level, starts with a little corridor where we get a glimpse of a one-way door beneath us. This may be useful. In the succeeding room, you find the Magician, and he drops you into his pit of evil and doom and death, where the fucking flower comes back, but this time as a robot, and you do a short chase sequence before just replaying the Carnivora fight. Now, reminder, this is like the final fight of the game. Why are we doing a rematch? Okay, but after like the second hit, the bird comes back, and then you defeat him because the bird's easy, and it sends you back down the tunnel to use the one-way door that you saw earlier to get back into the magician's chamber. Then he does a little jig, and I do like this scene. And then he starts running again, so you chase him outside for the last platforming section as the clouds fall apart, as do the platforms you stand upon, causing you to jump between spitting pipes and grab onto wheels that just fly upwards for some reason. Then the final section on a Mosquito. Yay! You chase after the ship the magician escaped on and see the place falling down around you, which is nice, and you actually, I don't think, really need to damage the ship, which feels very anticlimactic for, a final challenge, because the magician's ship just crashes slightly into the heart of the city and it all comes falling down. With Rayman and his optional friends ending up right where this journey started. It's cyclical, like Nonagon Infinity, or World. I'm cutting that. But that ain't the end of the game, bitch, because the whole time in the snoring tree, the door to the land of the living dead, which is a massive graveyard, has been blocked by this guy, and he will only step aside if you collect all 10 of his skull teeth, but they've been entrapped by tricky treasures. Each world contains a tricky treasure level you can access after collecting enough yummy electoons, in which you chase after these treasure chests to beat them up and get a tooth. The catch? No checkpoints, and these can get hard. There's so many random obstacles just slamming from the roofs trying to kill you for no reason. You could say it's a reverse chase level, but it is more of an auto-scroller, since if you move slow, he moves slow, and if you move at superhuman speeds, he moves at superhuman speeds. There's a common misconception you can finish the level halfway if you're fast enough. No, the treasure just shakes if you make enough speed to reach it. Once you collect all 10 teeth, you can enter the land of the livid dead. It's technically considered a world on the map, but there's only one level, so it's a level. It's a level. This place is sad. The music makes you sad at first, but that will change in subsequent screens. There are no lums here, so it feels very awkward. When you defeated Granny, no money. Yes, old people are the enemies here. And also this level is fucking impossible. To the next screen, please. Jumping on this fucking skeleton worm dragon thing is so intense and difficult, and then you get to this bit where you will run up these bones or more saw blades fall towards you, and if you persevere then, you get sent into this area where you just jump down a pit of flames, and it is so damn difficult, but rewarding! I love Livid Dead for a final challenge. It actually, challenges you. Unless you're Darth Kratos, nothing challenges him, he scares me. If you make it through the level, you meet Voodoo Mama, the actual final boss, where you climb on her hands and jump about to defeat her. It's pretty easy. Now, fun fact, this piece of concept art shows Voodoo Mama's tentacles above Mystical Peak, so it is possible early in development she was meant to be a Moody Clowns as the final boss fight. Since it is really weird that this game has two endings that are pretty unrelated, and you don't even seal the nightmares back again after completing either of them. And well, ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, that's it. Rayman Origins left a sizable hole in my heart that would later be continued by Rayman Legends. And I don't think Legends is bad, I just prefer the art style of Origins more. Oh, and also Legends is fucking mental! Now, to me, Origins' art style is way more memorable than Legends. Legends' art style feels too much like 3D characters in 3D environments but played from a 2D standpoint, which can work well. See Sonic Colors and Klonoa. I'm not getting footage of those. But when Legends ports over maps from Origins, it ruins them by making them too easy and zooming the camera out. Like, here's a side-by-side of two levels. And it just makes the game so much easier. So, in conclusion, is Rayman Origins good? I guess so. I made a video about it.